Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Settle It on the Screen. I'm your host, Michael Sroka, along here with Nick Houslander and Glen Updike. How are you doing, Glenn?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome.
You're always doing great, aren't you?
And
Yes,
we have some guests tonight with us. Doc Mack, I don't know if he's yet in the Skype, and we have Terry Burtlow. How you guys doing? I know
Good.
Terry's there.
What up, T?
How's it going?
We're here to bring you the news about competitive video gaming, arcade, and classic console gamings. And if you haven't heard, if you haven't been on the internet, there is a new Donkey Kong world record. Yeah, I don't hear a crowd cheer or anything like that.
Hey, man.
Yeah, so Glenn, you called it. It was going to happen. It didn't happen that weekend, but it's official. Hang Chen is no longer the Emperor of Kong.
Damn it.
Robbie Lakeman got it with 1,141,000 and some change, which is a great accomplishment, so congrats to Robbie. He worked really, really hard for it the past couple of months.
And we'll have him on the show 2 weeks from today. Correct? Let me just make sure. Come back on Friday, September 26th. Glenn will be talking with him exclusively for an hour and a half about his world record run. So for more news on that, tune back in 2 weeks for sure. You can watch the stream. Everybody can verify it from themselves, which is kind of the new way of doing everything. So if you don't think it's a world record, you can go check it out for yourself.
From what I've seen, though, it's legit. And the community behind it all agrees that it's legit. So
on an arcade machine, no MAME. It's the actual real deal. So it's been 2 years, I think, since Hang Chen got the other world record. So it's been quite a bit of time. Now, I mean, here we go again, me being the Donkey Kong hater, but maybe now, get some of those talented players to play some other games.
Yeah,
no, actually, a couple more people are still gunning for it.
Terry, what's your Donkey Kong high score?
16,500.
Yeah,
nice. That's better than mine, man. That's good.
1,000 last.
And Glenn should actually remember that because that was at Grassroots Gaming Expo. I can't remember who won that. Who won? Do you remember who won?
John Hunter.
I took third, took second.
And then I beat him that summer in Missouri.
Yeah, I just remember we had a Donkey Kong tournament, and I got lucky somehow and ended up with 16-5 and took third place. I was blown away.
Nice, dude.
I didn't compete in that one, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always your excuse.
Yeah, of course.
That's your excuse for not having a Donkey Kong world record. You don't have a machine.
Yeah, if I could get a machine.
Hey, Glenn, if you had a machine, would you basically guarantee the record?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I would be happy just getting a kill screen and getting like a higher score than Brian Allen, and I'd be happy.
All right. Let's talk about that. All right, you're just giving him more fuel.
Always comes down to that, doesn't it?
Yep. Well, we'll talk about that in 2 weeks, more Donkey Kong, but we got some subjects we want to talk about last week, and we want to apologize. I mean, I guess we can't really apologize for the weather, but me and Nick didn't have power.
Yeah, it was last Friday was a bummer to be around here.
Yeah, it sucked. We couldn't. And Glenn, you did a great job of playing some Life Force, some Konami games. I did get to view it from my cell phone, but we couldn't join you for the show, and we brought those subjects to this week's show. But we do have Terry with us on the line, and he's going to give us a little information about an event going on.
Galloping Ghost. Okay, if you're going to be in the Chicagoland area, October 17th, come on over to Galloping Ghost Arcade. We're actually doing a huge event there. The Man in Stripes, Walter Day, will be there live and in person. We're unveiling 4. What's that?
Dabo's going
to be there. Sweet.
Yeah, he is going to be there live and in person.
Cool.
4 new trading cards. If we had Doc on the line, I would let him talk a little more about that. I know one of the 4 is for the 2014 Galloping Ghost Gamer of the Year. which was just crowned, I believe, about a month and a half. Basically, it's we're going to have an award ceremony, just like any other event, but we've never done one at Galloping Ghost. This is the first time that's ever happened at Galloping Ghost. I believe this is also the first time Walter has been at Galloping Ghost. So it's a pretty big deal for like Galloping Ghost. You know? Yeah, it's like the Pope.
Pope coming to your arcade.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be awesome. $15. That $15 gets you into the event. And what's cool about that $15 as well, not only does that get you into the event, all of the games are on free play. So you can play all the games you want.
The way you said it, the way you said it was like you get to take home an arcade game.
You bet one of shows gets a Gallagher.
You brought so much excitement to this. I was just like, what is it? What is it?
Well, no, okay. The reason why I sound excited is you got to remember, Galloping Ghost is the largest arcade in the continental United States right now. They have over 450 machines on the floor. How could you not get excited about that? They even have rare titles that nobody else has. And I wish Doc was on here right now because he would definitely back me up on this.
Yeah,
Glenn, are you patching him in?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to talk to him for a lot about stuff. So that's pretty cool. So 4 new trading cards. I guess I kind of want to ask Doc who determines how the Galloping Ghost Player of the Year is determined. But if he doesn't come in, we'll have you kind of talk about that a little bit later. So which one did we decide on, Glenn? Grandfathering scores.
Data God wants to know who else is going to be there. I'm going to be there. And he wants to know if there's a photographer lined up, and I don't think there is there?
For the event?
Yeah.
I could get one. I can nominate my wife.
I nominate Data God. He did such a wonderful job at the Iowa event.
Yeah, he did. He really did. Yeah. That was an awesome event too. I cannot wait for next year's event for that. There's actually a small group of us right now on the committee. We actually had our first meeting last month. We're having another one at the end of this month. We're in the early planning process of next year's Icon event. Hope everybody can make it.
And for those who are joining us, the Icon event is basically a video game trading card extravaganza that happens in Fairfield, Iowa. So that's, if you check out just search us on Facebook and you'll find it. You can't miss it. And we'll put posts on our Facebook page as well. So should we hop into it, Glenn?
Sure. Let's get this debate rolling.
And for any of you, those watching out there, we're going to kind of talk about if for those who you don't know, I mean, Twin Galaxies has been the scoreboard for video games for over 30 years, and it's kind of going through a transitional period.
I see Doc.
Well, maybe we'll hold on to that thought for a second.
Hey, Doc.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, sorry about the delay.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. We were just talking about the event coming up that's at your arcade.
Yeah, everybody's really excited for it. So, huge
Mike,
thanks
are you going to be going?
What's that?
It's a possibility. It's a very.
I'm going.
Oh.
It's all about cheap airfare from Detroit to Chicago, so we'll see.
Which is possible.
It is possible. It does happen.
Possible. Anything's possible.
Yep. If I could get the day off, then I would drive, but it's going to be a iffy. And plus, I do want to go play 450 arcade games, so. Do you have Pack and Pal by chance?
What's that?
Do you have Pack and Pal by chance? I
We
know
do
it's
not.
only 10.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's on your objective.
Everything's on the list to get now.
Okay. All right. Maybe I gotta fly to Japan and
Why do you want to play it so bad?
Because I'm real good at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Play it on the Namco Xbox, and I play on MAME. I mean, I'm not MAME world record holder capacity yet, but I'm about 60% there. So I love the game. It's like strategy and Pac-Man. So I mean, and you have to think on your feet. But I bet that you could still make a pattern if you wanted to. It's still a Pac-Man game, but right now I'm not to the pattern point. But hey Doc, my question before I was going to ask, I was waiting for you. How is the Galloping Ghost Gamer of the Year determined? Is it more of like events throughout the years, high scores?
We basically look at a bunch of stuff. The scoring is part of it, but we really look for people that are part of the community behind everything. And we have just such an amazing community here. The players help one another. While it's very competitive, it's really about everybody helps each other to push the scores up, and there's no animosity when somebody else takes somebody's score, and it happens almost on a daily basis. So we look for players that are not only scoring well and attending events and really just supporting arcades in general. We encourage our players that are regulars. We encourage them to go to other arcades and travel to other arcade events and stuff. So there's a bunch of different things that we look at, and while scoring is an element, it's something much larger than that.
Very cool. That's why I wanted to ask, because I know people be like, well, how do I become the Galloping Ghost Arcade Player of the Year? I mean, I guess I should at least go once. You know?
So you can answer that question with maybe a little bit of truth.
It's getting harder and harder to pick it. Like the first few years, there were a few completely standout players that were our regulars are here 6 days a week usually.
Damn.
They're very competitive, and they just love learning new games. And it's really been what's driven us to get and find new games and keep adding stuff to the floor, is just that there's so many amazing players that keep drawing in more amazing players, and it really has perpetuated itself. And now so many players are aware of the award that our number of yearly members and lifetime members have really increased, just because there's a lot of them that really want to win it. So
that is awesome. I mean, their competitiveness in a different, the reason most of us are together here at Twin Galaxies is, because of a high score, but you're continuing on a social, a close individual level. And I'm kind of hoping there's a new place over here in Michigan called The Arcade. That pretty simple.
I wonder what they have there.
They got over 70 games. They do pinball tournaments, but I'd love for them to do something like that. But that's great that you're doing that, and it's so awesome just to watch from Facebook, even just to see all the stuff going on, and I'm meeting some of your staff at Midwest Gaming Classic in the past 3 times I've been there. It's just, I know I got to make a road trip there for sure. I got to stop making a road trip to Iowa. Sorry, Terry, but I just gotta. I'm always driving straight through. Or I'm going to some weird airport that's south
no one else
Chicago. There's no one else has been at, so I don't have to drive 10 hours to freaking Iowa.
Yeah, no, 10 hours. You're being reasonable.
That's if I'm just driving straight.
Yeah.
Miles an hour, but I got to go to the other one too.
What,
Star Worlds.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't met Glenn, and I haven't their arcade yet either.
That's true.
What else did I want to ask?
I don't know.
Real quick,
Glenn?
Doc, what's the official floor count right now?
We are at 418 tonight.
Nice.
That will be changing. We have probably at least, I'm shooting for 3 new games tomorrow. So
wow.
Hopefully we'll have Pro Gear, which was a Capcom shooter, really rare. Death Race, the 1977 Exidy, and 1989 Atari's Badlands.
Oh,
So,
nice. What is the oldest game you have, and what's the newest game you have?
Currently, the oldest is we have an electromechanical 1970 Sea Devil, which is our oldest, and then the newest.
Nice.
We have King of Fighters 13, which came out I think in 2012. I want to say.
Wow, that's awesome. So literally spanning 40 plus years.
Yeah. We try to, like, again, it's we've been buying so much from Japan lately. There's we're trying to get, like, we just picked up Tatsunoko versus Capcom, and we're just always trying to add any, like, it's we're not trying to just stay within a certain age range. Like, we try to have everything.
That's cool too, because I mean, nothing. I love the classic games, but a lot of these new arcades that come up. I mean. My arcade experience is the late
80s, early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
For example,
games.
I'm on Arcade right now. If you guys want to see a list of their games, a pretty accurate list, maybe not up to the date, up to the minute information, but over 400 games are listed on Arcade right now, and you can look for your favorite game. So what I'm looking for right now, you know, me and Nick go there. Maybe we'll set the Captain America and the Avengers world.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we beat the hell out of Mercs last week.
Yeah. It's only 50 quarters.
Twice.
What would you say some of your rarest games are?
Oh, geez, we've got Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. Primal Rage 2 is easily our rarest.
Yeah. That's amazing.
What about Galloping Ghost Pong?
That was a custom-made. It's in an original Pong cabinet. A school made it for us. It's a custom board, and the logo. Awesome. It's Pong. When it starts up, the word Pong in the O is a Galloping Ghost logo. Just made pixels and stuff, and it's something that they made as a class project to donate to us. And it was super generous of them to do that, and it's like it's really cool, really unique looking too. So
that's awesome.
What's your favorite game, man?
Oh, that's a hard one. It's whatever I'm playing at any given moment.
That's the best. That's the best way to get.
Yeah, Rampage is my favorite game right now.
Rampage. We're actually doing a Brian Colin, who is the creator of Rampage, is coming out here on the 20th of this month, and
sweet.
He's local, so he's in here all the time. It's like we to a lot of the industry people, we extend, like, they can come and go as they please, like the people that have created these great games. So it's guys like Brian Colin, and we just had George Petro was out here, who did a ton of games, and Larry DeMar, and it's such a interesting element to have the developers just here, and you talk to them about how they made Rampage and stuff, and it's just amazing hearing all the inside stories on all these games that I've played them my whole life. So.
And you have a great passion too. Let's real quick before we kind of go to our subjects. What is, I've played it at MGC. What is the game that you are working? Is that you're working on, or is it you have people at your shop working on? I'm not quite familiar. I don't. Can you explain that for everybody a little bit?
Yeah. Initially, my main company is Galloping Ghost Productions, and we've been around since &94. We're currently working on a game called Dark Presence that is going to be released. It'll have a full worldwide arcade release. We're trying to do a lot of things that make it very advantageous and worth it for arcades to purchase it. Like, as opposed, like the new fighting games that come out on console, like the arcade versions get killed as soon as the console version comes out. And we've really designed this game specifically for arcade.
That's cool. No one's doing that.
And you're in it, right?
I do play a couple of the characters. I did all the fight choreography for the game, so
That's really cool.
I love seeing the little demo you always have. It's like so awesome. That's him. He's right there. He's in the game.
Our countdown clock is at 167 days before we launch, so it's tough between making sure everything's running at the arcade and putting up new games and running events and getting the game done. So
Doc is a very busy man.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Oh.
It's fun though.
Sorry guys, I'm laughing. Me and Nick are fighting each other in Rampage. If you guys we're not playing the game cooperatively. We're playing deathmatch.
And if you really think if this was happening in real life, you'd be like, oh, finally they're fighting each other. Like, good, they're not fighting us anymore. Like,
and then one of us dies.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, one of them died. That sucked. Sorry, we just totally derailed the conversation.
We've played this forever.
Oh, it's been forever, man.
Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like it's gonna be a great event. Walter will be there, I'm assuming he's gonna be wearing the same ref shirt. I hope he washes that thing.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I assume he's probably only got one of them, so.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
No, I would imagine he has
Every
like 47 of them.
It's like, oh, it's getting a little more worn.
That's awesome. That's a great question. How many? I wonder if he had. I hope he has more than one.
He had more than one back in the day.
Back in the Walter day?
When he had all the referees wear the same thing, too.
The same shirt? They'd have to like trade off and wear the...
No, it's not the same shirt. All the referees for Twin Galaxies back in the early 2000s all had their own ref shirt at live events. And I'm assuming he had a different shirt, but I think since he stopped actively scorekeeping, I think he just has one shirt. I guess that's a subject we call Walter on one week.
Yeah, we'll have to
when
ask
we're
him
not doing Echo the Dolphin commentary.
Yeah, which is very rare that we're not doing it.
Well, it sounds great. If you guys check out the website, gallopingghost.com. Just making sure.
That one works. There's gallopingghost.com, gallopingghostarcade.com.
And of course, you can check them out on Facebook as well. It's one of the great arcades that I have not been to, so I can't. I mean, I know it's great. I've seen videos. What's the Twitch page you guys have? You guys are streaming quite a bit, too.
Yeah, it's twitch.tv / Galloping Ghost Arcade.
See, keeps it simple.
Yeah, that's
just use Galloping Ghost, everything. Some people have GG something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
I know I don't.
Is there a burger time there?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, Zookeeper. That's the people at the studio who are asking. Do you have a Zookeeper?
We have it. I don't have it on the floor yet.
Ah, okay.
Possibly within the next couple of weeks.
That's Glenn's favorite.
Chase Hall might like that. Yeah, he might come out then. Hey, Glenn, you're gonna get the world record on that, right, Glenn?
On Zookeeper?
Yeah.
Not anytime soon.
Oh, okay.
You were kicking butt last week, man. Or 2 weeks ago, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I get a couple lucky games every now and then.
Yeah, we were taken aback by how great that game was. I feel like I've wasted the majority of my life not playing Zookeeper.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing other games.
Yeah, I mean, like, just playing Rampage. Like,
playing
what the
Super
hell?
Mario Brothers, just playing Nintendo. It's like, why didn't Zookeeper come out for NES?
I know.
Or maybe it did, and I'm just being ignorant.
I was going to say, but it did. But no, I have no idea if it did. I guess we could have just, bought the game when we were little.
I actually got one more question, actually, for Doc. More questions keep popping in my head, and we're never going to get to our two subjects we wanted to talk about so bad last week. What has been, in your mind, in your opinion, what has been the most exciting world record that was set at your arcade?
Good question.
Wow.
I know it's tough, and I'm putting you on the spot, but...
Obviously, the Splatterhouse record going back and forth has been amazing to watch that. The first world record set here was Halley's Comet, which was like amazing to watch, just because it was Matt Rocco took it It was our first score. There's been so many. Like recently, Chris Teeter set a new world record in Jackal, which the score had stood since 1986. And to see that one come down, it was awesome. It's honestly though, it's like I think in the last week we've had 4 or 5 verified world records set. So it's a constant thing. It's difficult to pick just one.
Okay, that's okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. It could make him decide. It's okay. It's okay. It's a good answer.
You should be like he's accepting your answer. That's wow, great. That's really nice of you, Mike.
No, what is the most?
Nope, not acceptable. Same question.
You got anything you want? Glenn's pretty quiet this week because he had to talk all last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, my voice is hoarse from it.
Yeah, what you don't know what there's we all rest our voice all week long. We don't talk at all. We save it all for the show. So which is not easy. I mean, especially Mike. I mean, Mike's a DJ. I mean,
yeah,
he's the worst DJ ever because he doesn't talk. So.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Give me my $600 or whatever. I don't even know what DJs make like at a wedding or anything like that.
There's more than that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
They make more than us videographers.
Hell yeah, they do.
Oh, God.
I know some of the local DJs here in town that DJ at the bars, and they only get like 100 and a half a night. Plus,
that's true. I meant like for like a wedding or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, if you guys want to stick around, please do. Especially if anybody else wants to jump in the chat, please join us. Especially maybe we'll get a little controversial here. We wanted to talk about this last week, but me and Nick couldn't join because of the weather. And this has been a subject on the Twin Galaxies website since Twin Galaxies is retooling and getting ready for a new era to accept score submissions and I like to say try to be the world record keeper for all video games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I have different opinions about that, and we've expressed them on this show before. Actually, when we started this show, Settle It on the Screen, we viewed our, who is the actual person who gets to keep the world records. Well, really, it's the person who's the gamer, but who is the person who kept track of it? And Twin Galaxies did a great job for such a long time, and then we all want the history to remain the same, but maybe we should pass the baton on to a few others. I'll bring that up in a little bit, but one of the topics is, since we'll be accepting submissions here, and this comes to the arcade world in a way, MAME. In the past, Twin Galaxies accepted submissions from a specific software version of Wolf MAME 1.06. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's correct. Or 0.106. And that was always the standard for a world record on MAME. I guess the question is, should the new era of Twin Galaxies accept a different version? What do you think, Ben?
Well, I heard some talk about maybe there's a company that's supposed to be coming out with emulation, like a box, like a console type thing that can play MAME.
That'd be awesome.
And somewhat of the idea was everyone would play MAME on this console, and they'd be playing on the same controllers as everybody else. There'll be like a gamepad for your consoles, and then like arcade joystick and buttons for your arcade games. So that way everybody's playing on the same joysticks, the same, and it'll be like locked so you can't cheat, but I'm sure that people will find ways to mod that stuff.
As always.
So people still need video cameras to show everything hooked up correctly, right?
That's another thing, though, is like MAME records on most websites are direct capture.
Yep.
I think like every website, to be honest.
And this is where I'm gonna be devil's advocate and kind of. I mean, I love MAME. I mean, I think like right now we're playing it on a Dreamcast. That's how we broadcast all our arcade games. And it's cool because we get to play all these games. But then there's a legal part about this. I mean, technically, right now,
because
me and Nick are breaking the law.
Yeah.
We don't own a PCB, or we didn't purchase a copy of the ROMs. Because you can do that. You can purchase, like Capcom. I know you can purchase the digital copies of the ROM, and you're playing MAME illegally at that point. But then it's a legal issue in a way. And that's why I always jump to, well, if you want to get a world record, if you're going to go for it, you go to the arcade for the game. You go to Galloping Ghosts Arcade, and they have 400 of the game. So if you're really wanting to do it, you can practice on MAME, but just go do the arcade.
Yeah, if you're passionate enough about that score, you're going to go out to an arcade or find a machine to break this.
And that's what kind of just irks me a little bit about Twin Galaxies even tracking MAME, because it's like I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, but why are we wasting our time? I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous. There is another website out there that does a great job of it already and has been doing it for years and years and years. But like I said, is there really a need for it? And especially if we do it the way you suggested, if there's a new console that everybody has to use the same, it's just another video game system, in my opinion. That's like having an Atari Flashback that plays all these old Atari games, and that's going to be, well, somebody gets a new world record on Centipede for the Atari Flashback. We're just going to open a can of worms of all these extra systems and extra, recreation.
Centipedes, maybe.
Yeah, or the Sega. There's a Sega one out there too, made by the same company that does the Atari flashbacks of, who has the world record on Sonic the Hedgehog for the. I can't think of the name of the title right now, but it just seems like it's a huge can of worms to continue doing emulation world records. I mean, that's just me. What do you think? Anybody else?
I'm totally for the MAME system idea. I think that's a cool idea. I mean, I think it finally makes it like uniform, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I'm actually for it. I don't know if I'm for like that's the only way, but at the same time, like I kind of am for that because, like I said, it's uniform. Then everyone's playing the same thing. Everything's the same. So Galaxy's always trying to go for.
And that's what the current issue brings up. If the new administration of Twin Galaxies accepts MAME, but it's not that software of 1 or is 0.106, and they go to the new version of MAME, how can the records be comparable to the old scores?
Well, maybe they're not. I mean, maybe you just start over.
So you got MAME world records for Wolf MAME.
You can't really start over, though.
Well, that's what Nick's saying. We're just gonna have to have a new category.
I almost feel like you'd have to.
So the only way Twin Galaxies, so you're thinking, this is kind of my opinion, the only way Twin Galaxies can keep tracking MAME is still using the original software that was the standard back then. Right? Yes.
I guess. I mean, I know I'm not gonna have the same opinions probably because I don't have the same passion for these ideas.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them starting over from scratch. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have the score on something in the old version of MAME, you're probably just going to get the same. You're going to go for the same high score and probably get it. Because you're probably still the best in the game. So, I don't know. I feel like it's hard. It's a tough thing.
I think on this.
No, go ahead.
MAME at the arcade, MAME is like it brings up a huge point, and it's really had us look at high scores in a lot of different ways. You look at how a lot of the scores were set back in the day, and it was a guy who walked into an arcade and he put a quarter in, and he had to learn the game in an arcade under very different settings. And even now, it's like here you can come out and you pay $15 to get in. You can grind out on a game, and you can learn games very differently than it was back in the day. And it's almost to the point where it's less about scores and more to us. It's like there's a lot of learning and seeing how you obtain the scores. Like people watch videos, people play MAME, they do save states, they grind out the hard parts. But like to walk in and play a game like they did back in the 80s, it's a very different, completely different thing.
No, it is, and it's now video games are more like scientific method, where I mean you just trial and error. Before it was actually the main reason it was a monetary thing.
Absolutely.
You didn't have the money to go drop $100 to master a game, or most people didn't. But I mean, that can of worms has been open for what, 10, 15 years now. So I mean, that's what I mean. I understand. I totally understand the backside of this and the old scores and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like that day's over with. That era of gaming's done, unfortunately, and it's never going to go back. It can't go back. No. So I don't know. I feel like you almost have to just go, you know what? We understand that was the classic mode, but because of this and that
technology,
technology's taken over, and well, we just, you know, those old scores, they're still up there, and people can be like, oh, I still had that score, but you know, like it's just shut off. You can't. I almost feel like maybe
grandfather.
Yeah, like I really do.
Other subject.
I really do feel like
the other subject. Well, that's a good segue into the other subject too.
I think we kind of went over that. We'll read a few comments here. Where is it? Thanks from Phil. Submit your EMU scores to MARP or Retro Uprising. Submit your much previous actual hardware scores to Twin Galaxies. End of story. And that's kind of how I feel. And I think Twin Galaxies needs to accept that and stop maybe wasting their time with that too. Kind of, you know, like speed runs. We do want to announce a world record here for Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh, sweet.
And the guys at Speed Demos Archive, they do the best job of speed runs. And like I don't think that Twin Galaxies should even, you know, it's refer them. Just like Guinness used to refer all video game world records to Twin Galaxies. Everybody should just go to Speed Demos Archive. Mm-hmm. You know, I just how it is, because they have it down. Congratulations to Zach Allard, new world record on Mike Tyson's Punch Out for the NES, 14 minutes and 36 seconds.
Incredibly, that's very impressive.
From what we've seen on the net, that it is a very perfect or almost perfect run, as people use tool-assisted tools in the past to get the fastest speed run, and this is the official, somebody actually doing it, a human, not a computer, and it's within frames of, or it is exactly the fastest.
He was the first human to do a perfect Mike Tyson round.
So there can't be any more frames, basically.
No.
Cut it.
He got all 22 punches frame perfect.
That's where emulation trained him, which is awesome. But he still did it on the regular NES, of course. That's so awesome.
Hey, it's cool. I mean, and that's another one of those things. Yeah. Without the computer doing it first, he would have never realized it. But whatever, you know, he learned from it. So
I kind of wrecked your segue, didn't I?
No.
Okay.
It's still there.
It's still there. It's hanging there.
It's hanging there. We just haven't pulled it back down. Let's use that segue now,
actually,
Mike.
I can go back. I'm still reading more comments.
Dang, man.
What do we do when original arcade machines are all dead? Well, last time I checked, Doc's doing a great job of keeping them all running, so. I'm going to say that.
That's one of those things. Is we'll deal with it when we're there.
Yeah. No, I just say those scores are it.
No, I agree. But I mean, it's like, one of the we know. Eventually, obviously, that day is going to come.
Yeah, I mean that's like when baseball world records change because there's more games.
Yeah, and there's like different things. You know, there's asterisks.
There's asterisks.
Unfortunately,
you know what? This is the world record on looping because there's no more looping machines because Andrew Laidlaw destroyed them all.
Killed them all.
Actually, do you have a looping machine, Doc?
Or did you destroy it too?
No? Okay.
Oh man, looping's so awesome.
I don't know of a looping machine anywhere. I mean, if I search the correct database, but I swear to God, Andrew Laidlaw, Gallagher world record holder. I mean, he's the one to blame.
He destroyed like 25 of them in a month. It was ridiculous.
I'm not throwing him under the bus. He destroyed one. The PB still might be there, but
no, he burned it. He killed it. We saw him.
Yeah. I'm just looking through a few more comments. Okay, we can go to grandfathering. I'm good.
The segue's gone. We can't use it anymore.
Yeah, we can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
Dead air, dead air,
yep.
dead air.
No kidding. Segue.
Well, the other topic for the night was, should scores be grandfathered in?
Yes.
Doc, you're a good one to answer this one too, Doc. Is there any arcade games in your arcade that you won't accept scores on?
No, we take scores on everything. It's such one of the main things here. Like that's what everybody wants to do here is go after scores, and like I know, I think Contra was one that they weren't accepting scores on anymore, and it's we take scores on everything.
I like that.
Good. Yeah, no, so do I. That's cool.
Why weren't we accepting, or why wasn't accepting scores on Contra? I'm working on it. I'm trying to find out.
I think it comes down to just a padding area. So they just didn't want to turn it into a marathon of sitting in one spot padding.
Okay.
Exactly.
Actually, no. On Contra, I believe it was
max score.
Yeah, I think it was close to the max score without padding. So
I guess I don't have a problem with that.
Hang on, I'm looking up.
For that specific reason.
Well, you can always just disqualify a run if they use like excessive padding or something like that.
That's always the big problem. Is like, how do you define what excessive padding is? Like, if it's just enough to break the score, and you then move on, like games like Narc, for example, where you can go back and like you're not making forward progress. Or Ghosts and Goblins would be a great example. Like if you're sitting around padding, at what point is it, oh, I'm doing this to make my forward progress safe versus I'm padding?
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone just... Ghosts and Goblins is impossible. How do you get to the point where you're just padding in Ghosts and Goblins? That's amazing to me.
It happens.
It happens. Because they're good gamers.
No, I know that.
Was it Ghost? A very long time ago.
Oh, this is way before we did this show.
When we did the twin. No, it wasn't.
No, this was before.
Back in the
wasn't
day.
It? Well, it was. We were paying attention to it. It was before we were doing that.
Yeah, we got.
Show.
I was involved with Twin Galaxies and doing world records, and the reason we got into doing the Twin Galaxies podcast. I know we're kind of going off the subject real quick, but I got to tell a story. We were announcing world records on our podcast called Detroit Grouty Radio because I was getting into world records and I was putting some scores up, and so that's what we got in the subject. And there was a new world record for Ghosts and Goblins on the NES.
I can't remember his name.
And Nick just totally is like, that's such lie. There's no way anybody can get a score like that, and just totally took the guy's name and just added every
expletive you could imagine,
F word and S word you could possibly. And then, of course,
it was Daniel something. Yeah. I can't remember what it was. I know what I called him, but I'm not going to say it on this show.
We're saying all that stuff about all these gamers we never met and on our own podcast, and then And 2 months later, Walter Day goes, "Hey, Michael, I watched your broadcast. You guys want to do a podcast for Twin Galaxies?" I'm like, "Yeah, we only just we just."
Like, really, from the shows you watched of us doing, that's what got us the show. Like, all we did is we were not very me specifically.
Not
I
very
will
nice
admit.
To other people who got high scores. Like, that's bullshit. Constantly cheating. Fuck you, that kind of stuff. So.
To be fair, though, we trashed everyone on this show. No one was safe. It didn't really, nothing to do.
Like, we still trash everybody.
Yeah, exactly. We're equal opportunity.
All right,
trash.
Sorry about that. We went all tangent there because talk about ghost.
It was Daniel something from somewhere in like Virginia.
I know his last name.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Well, you called him Daniel Stick.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. I know what I call him, but I don't know his real last name.
Well, of course. We could probably find it on the database.
Well, you said you know his... Oh, you know the last name I gave him. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
So for, like, games that have infinite loops of enemies where you can just sit there and get points over and over, would it be fair to, like, have, like, a universal time limit on that type of stuff?
I think so.
Where you only could do that for like a minute or two, and then you'd have to move on.
I think maybe I know that gets tough.
Makes it tough to.
No, I mean, when I totally get what you're saying because in our own video game championship, we stopped that years ago. We made that illegal. I mean, it was not like something you could do. Especially if it was going by high score, you were not allowed to do that. Yeah. And what we did is we would put kind of like a time limit on how long you could play and stuff like that. Not just like
you couldn't leech forever.
It was impossible, you know.
You had a certain amount of time you could.
Leeching was useless.
Yeah, because it didn't matter. You only have so much time to get points.
Yeah.
And that's where Twin Galaxies in the past on consoles on some of these games, for example, on Atari, and there's actually a few on Intellivision, just because that's what I kind of participate in. Some people, they made some records that had leeching available, and obviously people did leech for those scores. Then they're not taken down because the score is put up. It was a world record. It would be unfair to go back and remove somebody's world record because, nobody made the rule you couldn't do that. You can't take away somebody's score 5 years after.
No, definitely.
But what they would do is they make new variations, 15-minute rule, who can get the most points in 15 minutes or something like that.
Yep.
Which I think is kind of cool.
No, I like that.
But there's so much when it comes to making what is the true rules, what are the best rules. It's really tough. I mean, a lot of people kind of blame all the old refs, but they had a tough job of determining these rules, and a lot of them were experts, but they weren't an expert on every game, and everybody wanted rules to play. They wanted to get the world record, so they're like, what's the rules? Okay, and they just set them up right away. They might not have been the best rules because somebody came along and they found out all the tricks because they played the game the most, or they got MAME, they figured it out. So, you can't blame everybody for that kind of, the old crew for that.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, like, would you disqualify someone while they were doing it? Like, that gets into an unfortunate thing where it's like, when you do stuff like that, it just causes bad blood. When you do, that's why it's like you can't. Mid-run doing stuff like that, or someone just played something. I don't think you got to do it later. Like, I don't know. I think that's a tough position to put yourself in because you don't want people looking at you like that. Like, oh, Grill, I played this game and got the record, but you're disqualifying it because of this rule you didn't tell me about prior to it.
Or you, because I did such an awesome job.
Exactly.
You're going to use that as an illegal trick after the fact.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel like that. No. That's why, that's good to...
Well, let's go over some of the games that are grandfathered in the score on the database and the reasons why they're grandfathered. Because some games that are grandfathered, I don't believe should be.
Okay,
let's do it.
Let's share our opinions, and if you have your opinion, please sign in. We have TG Live 5 through 8 open. We want to hear, this is a...
And one of the games that's grandfathered in is Back to the Future, because I do believe it was Andrew that found out that there's a checkpoint in the game that if you die, it'll set you back, and then you can collect the 1-up and continue to get points, die, they'll set you back, and then you just keep repeating getting that one up and killing yourself off. So they grandfathered the game in and made it so nobody could compete. Why not just ban that maneuver? If somebody does that like 2 or 3 times, just say, okay, your run's done from that point.
Because you did well. The way this is how I would have approached it. I mean, I had referee for what
25 minutes,
23 days or something before I said no way. Sorry, you guys aren't. I have no authority anyway, so why am I even going to do it? But I mean, my whole thing was that. Well, that's a marathon, in my opinion. Don't you, if you do that, right? Would that make sense? Doc, would you consider that like a marathon type of score? If you kept killing yourself and come back?
Yeah, it turns it into something different. Like again, like we go by, if there's existing rules, like we try to follow them, what TG has in place and then what Arcade has. But we add our own rules that they make sense for the game. Like it's such a game-to-game basis. It's like it really depends on what you're going for on each particular game. Like if it's you want to play like that, I guess there could be a score for doing that, but it should probably be tracked differently.
And that's how I would. My approach would be, well, especially if there is a score. If there's not a score up, or there's not, or there's not competition with it, I guess you could close it down. I wouldn't close it down. I would still allow people to come back and do the same trick that maybe the first place has. They just might do it longer. Then if they're doing a leeching type of thing like that, consider it a marathon type score. And then go ahead and make a new setting. Like I really like doing this with all video games. For example, in that Back to the Future game, you say you keep getting a free life, correct?
Yeah.
1 life only.
Yeah,
either
absolutely.
fast, most points you can get on 1 life. So then you're not going to kill yourself because you're just. Is there a time limit on that one though? Well, obviously you have to kill yourself to keep getting the points.
There is a time, kind of a time. It's like an invisible time limit.
Oh, okay.
Because in that game, your guy keeps constantly moving, kind of like a shoot 'em up game. And then there's I think it's like the pie level or something like that, which you have to dodge so many things. And then it has the guitar playing segment, which you have to catch so many notes. So it is kind of like there's an ending, and there is kind of like a time limit. It's just kind of like an invisible one.
So just make one life only. A separate world record. I mean, we have those on games, and people accept them.
If you're just gonna, yeah, like Galaga,
5-man and then 26-man ships, because Galaga does eventually stop giving you free lives after, I believe, 1 million points. So you do still run out of lives. So technically, it still is the same game as 5 lives. I think they just made a 5 live one just so we don't have to watch 16 hours of Galaga, But that one, they could have kept that old marathon because there was a limit on lives.
That brings up another good game that with the same ordeal that's tracked differently, and that's Castlevania. And Twin Galaxies only has the 5-man track, but you can only get up, I think, 23 lives if you do points. If you sit there and leech points, you can only get up to 23 lives before the game maxes out your lives. Well, after you roll the score over, you don't get any more lives. And I asked somebody years and years ago, why isn't there a marathon tracking to track all 23 lives? And they said, oh, it's because of the point leeching. Well, there's only a set number of lives, so you can only, leech so far.
Yeah. And that's... And we're not going to mention his name, but somebody did that this past year in January, who he pushed the game further than anybody else has, and discovered that there is a cap on lives. And he was leeching points, but it's a game that is grandfathered that no longer accepts. So hopefully, and maybe, with this community type of thing we still haven't seen unveiled, maybe rules can, not just submissions, can be verified by the community. Maybe the community can participate in a type of, voting type of thing. Is that kind of how you guys do it at Galloping Ghosts a little bit? Where it's kind of more a collective thing? Like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, there's definitely input in from the gamers. Most of them, as a general rule, they're not trying to leech points. They just try to get as far as possible, and if there's something that's an issue, then like we added in as a rule. But it's kind of a progressive thing. Like everybody's like leeching is not really the big issue, unless like an existing score did something to like it has to be done to obtain the score.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that's how I feel. Anything else? Any other scores that we can think of real quick, Glenn?
That are grandfathered in?
Yeah, maybe a little bit different scenario. I mean, I brought up another one, but I know there's one more and I can't think of it right now. Nick, your attempt's gone. You push pause.
No, I've paused like 7 times.
Oh, okay.
Like that's a low number.
Right
I still am. I'm taking this the leisurely world record of Rampage.
Leisurely.
It's how long can you take you to beat the game on 1,000 quarters? I promise not to go over 1,000. So it's pointless. Why are we talking about this?
Because we're playing Rampage, Elliot.
No, I know that is true. I am playing this. I think it's again with the community thing. I think it's one of those things that majority will rule on stuff like this, and I also think it'll like self-govern itself. All of this stuff is like in theory mode because it's not set up. So I think a year into the assumed community that will come of this scoring, we'll know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really think we can talk about it all we want, but I think we'll eventually know. Yeah. And some of it's probably not going to be stuff that maybe we personally like, but if that's what makes it, then that's just what's gonna be. So and that's not a bad thing. I mean, really, you can't always get what you want, and sometimes it's just better for
everybody else.
Better for everyone else.
That's what some people have to understand.
Yeah.
Some people,
and don't get mad, don't quit the community and stuff like that seriously, where it's like it's the one thing that drives me crazy. It's like nothing like adults acting like children.
Just because the NHL makes the worst rule changes in the world doesn't mean that people stop playing hockey.
No, it's
I mean,
I still watch the NHL, even though the shootout's the stupidest thing that's ever happened in the history of sports. But whatever. Still
enjoy watching hockey.
Yeah, I just turn it off after the after the overtime's done. So. Then we'll never stop bitching about it. But
no, we won't.
It's been a decade, but it's just one of those things that I don't know. I think it'll be all right. Eventually, sure, there'll probably. I think the grandfather thing will be true for certain games, whether or not you like it or not. But I don't
think any game should be grandfathered in, though. That's just my opinion. I think you should be able to
that's fine.
compete on every single game.
Yep, open. Maybe the new era of Twin Galaxies will just open it all up. I agree with that too.
Here's a question. Who is the person responsible for making that decision?
Well, see, that's where it gets kind of sketchy too. Phil just pointed out a score Car Wars for the TI-99. The world record was grandfathered, and the player doesn't even leave the first track.
Really?
But the refs, I guess, back in the day were in some of that decision-making process.
We know they are. Oh, even just a few years ago.
Which is crazy, because if you look at some of the ref scores that were making decisions, they also have grandfathered scores in.
That they're number one, yeah. So hopefully with the new Twin Galaxies, that will be opened up at some point, if needed, on certain games. If somebody's not going to
load runner cough.
I knew you were going to say that. That's fine. We only have a few minutes here, I guess. So I just kind of want to do a little program note. We will not be on next week. I know you all stay home on Friday nights and don't go to Galloping Ghost Arcade on Friday because
of our show,
which
we apologize for.
So it's a good reason to take a road trip to Galloping Ghost Arcades next weekend and play some arcade games there because we will not be on. Twin Galaxies Live is getting prepared for some event that I don't even know about, but we won't be here next week. And actually, me and Nick won't be here September 26th again. The power is going to be out.
Yep, we already know.
But Glenn is going to have Robbie Lakeman on, the Donkey Kong world record holder, new champion. That will be September 26th. Who's on October 3rd?
Ethan Daniels.
Ethan Daniels will be our guest on that day. October 10th, we have a tentative possible the Intellivisionaries. They are a podcast crew that just talk about Intellivision. We got to start talking about some consoles on here. I want to talk about some Intellivision.
Exactly.
Play some. There's a new Intellivision flashback. 60 of the 125 released games. It's going to be sweet. And then on October 17th, the events we kind of talked about early in the show, Glenn will be broadcasting from Galloping Ghost Arcade at the event on Friday night. 10:30 Eastern.
Wait.
7:30. So, and we'll be here. Me and Nick will join from, or maybe I'll be there. I don't know. Maybe Nick will be over here by himself.
Maybe I won't even be here. There might be just too many arcade games, and I might get sucked into it all and just not even broadcast.
So not even broadcast another thing, yeah.
Just broadcast me playing at one game.
Yeah,
maybe.
Just making my trip all the way down the line of arcade games. I don't even think I could play that many games in one day.
Yeah,
no.
That'd be crazy.
At least, you could, but you wouldn't enjoy them all. You couldn't have a game. Like, you could make a move.
Hate them.
I think somebody did a world record, played 12 video games or something in like less than 10 seconds. That's not really.
No, I like to get intimate with the games.
Something Jimmy Fallon. It's worth what do we call it? Record setter.
No.
I mean, it was who can play the most video games in like 10 seconds or 15. It's just you make one move. It's not like it's not a world.
It's record setter. I mean, come on.
It's like, who can...
I have the record for smashing 12 alarm clocks in 9 seconds while eating a cheeseburger. It's like, wow, that's so
cool. They should grandfather that.
They should.
But there are some really cool records on there. Like, Doc has the most people playing arcade games at one time. And that is cool.
It's like 31, right?
No, it's like over 100, isn't it, Doc?
That's 124.
124 people playing.
Yeah, honest question. You have 420. You have about 400 machines. What is the electric bill?
Oh God, good question. That's the best question yet.
I'm trying to have a good weekend here. You bring up my electric bill. It's pretty monstrous.
Is it one of your biggest expenses, I'm assuming?
What's that?
Like your biggest expense?
Second to rent only. It's rent and then
does
electric.
The power company, like, I mean, are they like kind of pissed at you sometimes, or do they think you're awesome?
Other businesses.
They like us. They like us.
They probably send them Christmas gifts.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, keep that arcade running, please.
Yeah, you guys are going good.
You want a few more games?
We found some games from Japan
some old
for you.
Power supplies too that it doesn't make the game work, but you should use these for sure.
Yeah, just plug them in. We love the noise.
Oh, I know you like the CRTs, because I know a lot of people convert them, but we like the CRTs, so we start buying.
That's awesome, actually.
Sorry to interrupt, but you have 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right, thanks.
How much?
30
4 minutes.
Oh, 4 minutes.
Oh, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Oh, okay.
See, Nick, that's why I didn't listen.
No.
You said 30 seconds. Like, I'm not panicking.
My hearing's usually awesome. So.
Yeah, right. By the way, I'm starting a Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah?
The Houselanders Health Fund.
Yeah, that's a great one. I do need hearing aids.
For the past 10 years.
It's gotten progressively worse. Hey, the doctors told me when I was a kid it was going to happen.
We thought it was you
wrong.
just pretending not to, choose not to listen. But
that's
after
really
the past
not.
10 years, I know you can't hear.
It comes in handy sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Depends on who I'm around.
Oh. So now, okay, so I got all the stuff out of the way. So we'll be back in 2 weeks, or Glenn will be back in 2 weeks.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. Glenn will be back in 1 week.
World record
Real
holder.
quick.
Oh,
Mike,
I'm going.
Speed round.
Going back to Icon. Did you ever find this guy?
Ken Sweet.
Did you ever find him?
Mike looked him up.
What's
You remember that, Mike? The guy with the bow tie.
Yeah, he's from New Hampshire. He's from the what do you call it? The
This is Florida on the card, Mike.
Yeah, but he's where he competed.
Florida.
That's where that's his only score.
Visit him.
His score was at Fun Spot.
He's got 4 on this.
Yeah, Mike. What the heck?
Well, I said all his scores were done at
What
Fun
are
Spot.
they?
I'm working
What
on
are
it.
they?
Working.
He's got the Pac-Man World 20th anniversary for the PS, California Speed Arcade, Willow Spring Track, Speed Buggy Off-Road on the arcade, Time Crisis Stage 1 arcade. Is what's on the card.
He has quite a bit of scores here. Yeah.
I want that bow tie, man.
I mean, yeah.
I want the glasses.
You got to get him on the show. If anybody knows how to contact.
There's just some trading cards that stand out, and that was one of them.
Oh yeah, Mike cannot stop laughing about it at Icon. I remember, what is the deal with this guy? I got to look this guy up.
Well, it's like
2 minutes they have remaining. They have
those paintings where the eyes follow you. I swear to God, 10 eyes in that trading card.
Oh, like the Mona Lisa.
Exactly. They're constantly following me. I'm like, even in those glasses. I'm like, oh man, Walter, why do you make these cards? They freak me out at night.
That's why, right there, man.
That's why I didn't buy a set.
He's the puppet master.
I just got a mine and a few people. That's about it. Scare me.
So this is your fear.
I have a fear of drowning in Walter Day's trading cards. Just like
drowning in paper.
Well,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
Paper, like like in DuckTales. Like you have just a big pile of money.
Except he has paper.
When
really
I watched
worthwhile.
DuckTales when I was younger, I'm like, they could like stuff a kid.
That's a hazard right there.
I did. I actually thought. I was like, how do they?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you
don't.
what my favorite card of all time is Dan Wolf's. It's the one where he got the picture taken with his cat.
Hey, that's funny you bring him up. Dan Wolf is actually going to be at Galloping Ghost next month on the 17th.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But he has my favorite one, my favorite card by far.
In fact, he actually sent me a private message on Facebook. And he's
30
just like,
seconds remaining. Great show, guys. 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Fucking stoked that it was actually an event on a Friday night. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Everybody makes it out. Galloping Ghost, October 17th, $15.
Yep.
Cool.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Doc for joining us. Thanks Terry.
Join us again in 2 weeks. Yeah. Glenn will be here by himself then, but thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time, and we'll sit here for 10 seconds.